Hello dear friends, and welcome back to Pillow Pasta. And now it's time for some gaming pastas, which pretty much all follow this line. Well, this game is clearly haunted. Better keep playing! And one of the most popular of that trend is the story of the fastest and deadliest thing alive. Sonic.exe.
I'm a total Sonic the Hedgehog fan, much like everyone else. I like the newer games, but I don't mind playing the classics. I don't think I've ever played a glitchy or hacked game before, though I don't think I want to play any, after the experience I had.
Okay, little Billy, where did the Pokemon ROM hack touch you?
It started on a nice summer afternoon. I was playing Sonic Unleashed, until I noticed, out of my peripheral vision, that the mailman had arrived and put something in my mailbox, as usual, and left. I paused my game to go see what was in the mail. The only thing in the box was a CD case for computers, and a note. I took it inside. I looked at the note first, and realized it was from my dear friend Kyle, whom I hadn't seen for 2 weeks. I know that because I recognized his handwriting. Though what was weird was how it looked. Badly written and scratchy, and somewhat difficult to read, as if Kyle was having a hard time writing it down and did it in a hurry. This is what he wrote.
Tom, I can't take it anymore. I had to get rid of this thing somehow before it was too late. I was hoping you'd do it for me. I can't do it. He's after me, and if you don't destroy this CD, he'll come after you too. He's just too fast for me. Please, Tom, destroy this godforsaken disc before he comes after you too. It's too late for me. Destroy the disc, and you'll destroy him. But do it quickly, otherwise he'll catch you. Don't even play the game. It's what he wants. Just destroy it. Please. Kyle.
I have no time to destroy the game myself, yet I have ample time to write this letter?
Well, that was certainly weird. Even though Kyle is my best friend and I haven't seen him in 2 weeks, I didn't do what he asked me to do. I didn't think that a simple gaming disc would do anything bad to him. After all, it's just a game, right? Boy, was I wrong about that.
I'm a bit of an idiot that way.
I looked at the disc, and it looks like any other ordinary computer CDR disc, except it had black marker written on it. Sonic.exe. And it was much unlike Kyle's handwriting, meaning that he must have gotten it from somewhere else, like a pawn shop or eBay. When I saw Sonic on the writing of the CD, I was actually excited and wanted to play it, since I'm a big Sonic fan. I went up to my room and turned on my computer and put the disc in and installed the game. When the title screen popped up, I noticed that it was the first Sonic game. I was like, awesome! Because like I said earlier, I like the classics. The first thing I noticed that was out of place was when I pressed start. There was a split second when the title image turned into something much different. Something that I now consider horrifying before cutting to black. I remember what the image looked like in that split second before the game cut to black. The sky had darkened. The title emblem was rusted and ruined. The Sega 1991 was now instead Sega 666. And the water had turned red like blood. Except it looked hyper-realistic.
Hyper what?
Hyper-realistic.
The fuck does that mean? A genre of painting and sculpture resembling a high-resolution photograph. Why couldn't Sega focus on this groundbreaking technology for their 16-bit consoles rather than this shit?
But the freakiest thing in that split-second frame was Sonic himself. His eyes were pitch black and bleeding, with two glowing red dots staring right at me. And his smile had stretched wider up to the edge of his face. I was rather disturbed by that image when I saw it, though I figured that it was just a glitch and forgot about it.
Then I realised I couldn't forget, after having remembered such vivid detail of a split-second image.
After it cut to black, it stayed like that for about 10 seconds or so. And then another weird thing happened. The save file select from Sonic the Hedgehog 3 popped up, and I was like, what the fuck? What's this doing in the first Sonic game? Anyway, then I noticed something off. The background was the dark cloud sky of the Bad Stardust Speedway level from Sonic CD. And there were only 3 save files? The music was that creepy Caverns of Winter music from Earthbound, only it was extended and seemed to be in reverse. And the image for the save file, where you see a preview of the level you're on, was just red static for all 3 files. What freaked me out more was the character select. It showed only Tails, Knuckles, and to my surprise, Dr. Robotnik. Now I was sure something was up. I mean, how can you play as Robotnik in a classic Sonic game, for crying out loud? That's when I realized this wasn't a glitchy game. It was a hacked game.
No!
It definitely looked like a hacked game. It was really creepy, but as a smart gamer, I wasn't scared. Or at least I tried not to be. I told myself that it was just a hacked game, and there's nothing wrong with that. Anyways, shaking off the creeped out feeling, I picked file 1 and chose Tails. The game froze for about 5 seconds, and I heard a creepy pixelated laugh that sounded an awful lot like that Kefka guy from Final Fantasy, before it cutting to black. The screen stayed black for about 10 seconds or more, and then it showed a typical level title thing. Except the simplistic shapes were different shades of red, and the text showed only Hill, Act 1. The screen faded in, and the level title vanished, revealing Tails in the Green Hill Zone from Sonic 1. The music was different though. It sounded like a peaceful melody in reverse. Anyway, I started playing, and had Tails start running like he would in any classic Sonic game. What was odd was that Tails was running along the level. There was nothing but flat ground, and a few trees for about 5 minutes. That was when the peaceful music started to lower down into slow, deep tones, very slowly as I kept going. I suddenly saw something, and I stopped to see what it was. It was one of the small animals lying dead on the ground, bleeding. That was when the music started to slow down. Tails had a shocked and saddened look on his face that I never saw him have before. So I had him move along, and he kept that worried look on his face. As he kept moving, I saw more and more dead animals. As Tails moved past them, looking more and more worried.
This is still 16-bit, right?
As the music lowers, and he moves past more and more dead animals, I was shocked to see how they all died. It looked like somebody killed them in rather gruesome ways. A squirrel was hanged on a tree, and with what appeared like his entrails hanging out. A bunny had all 4 of its limbs torn off, and a duck had his eyes gouged out and his throat slit. I felt sick to my stomach when I saw this massacre, and apparently so did Tails. After a few more seconds, there were no more animals, and the music seemed to have stopped. I still kept Tails to continue. After a minute passed, after the music stopped, Tails was running up a hill, and then he stopped. It wasn't until then that I saw why. Sonic was there on the other side of the screen with his back to Tails, and his eyes closed. Tails looked happy to see Sonic, but then his smile faltered, obviously noticing that Sonic wasn't responding to him. Tails walked slowly towards Sonic, and I noticed that I wasn't even moving my keypad, so this had to be a cutscene. Suddenly I began to have a growing feeling of dread as Tails walked closer and closer to Sonic. I felt that Tails was in danger, and something bad was going to happen. I heard faint static growing louder as Tails was just inches from Sonic, and stopped and stuck out his hand to touch him. That foreboding feeling in my gut was stronger, and I felt the urge to tell Tails to get away from him as the static grew louder. Suddenly, in a split second, I saw Sonic's eyes open. They were black, with those red glowing dots, just like in the title image, although there wasn't a smile. When that happened, the screen turned black, and the static sound was off. It stayed black for about 7 seconds, and when the white text popped up on the screen, forming a message, it said,
Hello. Do you want to play with me?
And it was here that I decided to stop playing the game and... I'm just kidding.
At this point I was creeped out. I didn't even want to continue with the game. But my curiosity got the better of me when I was taken to a level with the title now saying Hide and Seek. This time I was on the Angel Island level from Sonic 3, and it looked like everything was on fire! Tails looked as though he was scared out of his wits this time. He actually looked at me and made frantic gestures to me, as if he wanted to get out of this area as soon as possible. I was starting to get freaked out by this. I mean, Tails was actually breaking the fourth wall, trying to tell me to get him out of here. So I pressed down on the arrow key as hard as I could, and made him run as fast as he possibly could. A pixelated version of that creepy theme when you meet Shadow at Ark's laboratory as Robotnik from Sonic Adventure 2 was playing, as I made Tails trek through the desolate forest, trying to help him escape from whatever it was that he was trying to run from. Suddenly I heard that creepy laugh again. That awful Kefka laugh. Right after 10 seconds have passed since I was helping Tails run through the forest, and I started seeing flashes of Sonic popping up everywhere on the screen, again with those black and red eyes. The music changed to that suspenseful drowning jingle as I see Sonic behind Tails, slowly gaining on him, flying. Sonic wasn't running, he was actually flying! This time he had the most deranged looking grin. He looked as though he was enjoying the torment he was giving the poor little fox as he gained on him. Suddenly, when Tails tripped, another cutscene, the music stopped and Sonic vanished. Tails laid there and started crying for about 15 seconds. The scene was rather upsetting to watch, and I kind of teared up myself. But then Sonic appeared right in front of Tails, and he looked up in horror. Blood started to come from those blackened eyes of Sonic's as a grin slowly grew from his face as he looked down at the horrified fox. I could do nothing but watch. Just in a split second, Sonic lunged at Tails right before the screen went black. There was a loud screeching noise that only lasted 5 seconds. The text returned. Only this time it said,
You're too slow. Want to try again?
Nope!
I was so shocked by what just happened. Did Sonic murder Tails? No, he couldn't have. He and Tails are supposed to be best friends, right? Why did Sonic do that to him? I shook the shock off as I was brought back to the character select screen. The save file that had Tails was different. Tails was no longer in the box itself, but in the TV screen, which was flickering with red static. Tails' expression scared me. His eyes were black and bleeding. His orange fur had gone black, and he had an expression of anguish on his face. Trying to ignore it, I picked Knuckles next.
Ah, shit.